My boyfriend, 26, has enjoyed receiving play for quite some time. However, in the last several months, this has started to constantly pop up during sex, no matter what type of mood we're in going into it.
We also got a lot of questions about fantasizing during sex. A lot of people asking, like, is it okay to fantasize about other people when I'm having sex with my partner? By far and away, the most common question was about cuckolding.
Mm-hmm. Surprise, surprise.
What's the deal with cuckolding?
What the hell is cuckolding, Vanessa?
Hello and welcome to the Pillow Talks podcast. We're your hosts, Vanessa
and Xander Marin.
I'm a sex therapist with over 20 years of experience.
And I'm just a regular dude. We share the ups and downs in our relationship while giving you step-by-step techniques for improving yours.
Make sure you subscribe for your weekly double date full of totally doable sex tips, practical relationship advice, hilarious and honest stories of what really goes on behind closed bedroom doors, and so much more. It's the sex education you wish you'd had.
Today, we are going there and answering all of your questions about kinks and fantasies.
Oh, this will be good.
We put a question box up on Instagram and we asked for people's questions. We said, what are you curious about? What do you want to know? Is there anything you're struggling with in your relationship? And I gotta say, I've been in this field for over 20 years. I've heard pretty much everything, but there were some good questions in this batch. So I am very excited to dive in.
And, I've obviously been with Vanessa I've been with Vanessa almost close to it's been 18 years. It's been really close to 20.
In October, it'll be 18.
It'll be 18 years.
Or no, wait, December, it'll be 18.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
17 and a half.
Okay, I've been with her close to 20 years at this point. And I'm obviously not a sex therapist, but we've talked about almost all of this stuff. I've almost heard as much as Vanessa. So I'm excited to talk about this.
All right, well, let's dive into these questions. We're going to do our best to give you our honest, judgment-free, expert-backed answers. Okay, so first, let's talk a little bit about kinks and fantasies in general, because we got a lot of background type of questions.
But why?
Exactly.
Why do I want
but
this?
Why? Yeah, so a ton of people ask, is there a psychological reason or an explanation why people have kinks?
Because I think a lot of people are embarrassed, feeling like they are wanting something that is not perceived as normal. Mm-hmm. And something therefore must be wrong with me because I'm desiring that thing. And so I think, of course, when we think something is wrong with us, we want to figure out why. Okay, well, let's trace it back to what happened to me in childhood.
Yeah.
I think maybe the assumption if I can sort that out, maybe this thing will go away.
And most people have a pretty narrow definition of what constitutes as not kinky. It's a man and a woman having missionary, in and out intercourse. That's it.
Maybe a couple more positions are okay.
But a lot of people think of pretty much anything else as being kinky. And so of course, if we have that definition, then it feels like this other stuff is more taboo. It's outside of the norm. And then we want to understand where does it come from? So the reality is that there is not always a clear psychological explanation for why people have kinks.
Sometimes there might be, but often...
Sometimes there can be. I have worked with clients in the past where we were able to trace it back to some specific childhood incident, some moment in time where a person came across some leather and they started getting, really interested in leather. We have this saying, neurons that fire together wire together. So if two things happen kind of close together where you happen to stumble across the leather and you also happen to be turned on in that moment, we can have those experiences tied together in a certain sort of way. So
especially if we're in a developmental phase, we're young, our brains are developing.
Yeah. So, but again, this was rare that we could go back and find this specific, I was masturbating with this leather and I, whatever. In the vast majority of cases, we've never found a specific reason. And that's very normal and totally okay. I actually like to think of our sexual preferences like our food preferences. We just have food preferences and there's not any sort of history or explanation behind them. I don't like oysters and mussels. I don't have any like trauma around them. That's another thing that comes up with kinks too. A lot of times people think like, oh, is it related to a trauma? And absolutely not. That's not the case for the vast majority of people. But like, yeah, I don't have any trauma around mussels or oysters. I just happen not to like them. And you happen not to like... Oh my God! I
also don't like oysters.
You don't love
really.
oysters.
I like cooked oysters. I'm cool with that. I don't like raw oysters. I don't like uni.
Yeah.
I don't like a couple other things. I'm pretty adventurous, but that's kind of funny because it's like
in and out of the bedroom. You're probably more adventurous with your food.
Yeah, but no. I mean, but the funny thing,
literally eat anything.
But the funny thing about it for me is that it's like if you do want to play the game of like tracing it back to childhood. I really don't have any reason in my childhood that would seem to predict that I would actually be really into, like I would be really adventurous when it comes to food. Because in fact, I was very much the opposite as a kid. I was really, really picky. I barely ate anything. It was a problem. Like it was a serious problem. Like I would eat hot dogs and like green peas. That was like the only vegetable that I would eat. And maybe like potatoes or something. Like it was like I just didn't want to eat any other things, and I didn't want to eat very much of them. And that was almost like a trauma for me as a kid. Like it was bad. It was really bad. And so you would think, oh yeah, well it's like if it's like that your experience as a kid with something then predicts the way you feel about it later on, like then it would be like, oh, like I'm just a super picky eater, but I'm not. So, yeah, just like Vanessa was saying, every now and then for someone you can trace it back. For the most part, no, it just kind of is what it is. I mean, I would even say it's kind of like, to think back to like when you started going through puberty and you started like getting really attracted to people or, maybe like attracted to celebrities or musicians or whatever. Like, why is it that you really liked one person and not another? Yeah. Right? Like, it's kind of random. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was like 13. I was like, oh my God, Britney Spears is so hot. But then like, I wasn't into, a bunch of other people that other people thought were hot at the time. It was like, why was it that I gravitated towards her specifically? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not into Britney Spears anymore, but there was a couple of years when I thought she was really hot when I was 13.
So yeah, bottom line, there isn't always an explanation, and we don't need to explain them for them to be valid. Like if it's something that you're curious about and interested in, like it's valid just because it is. Also,
even if you were able to trace it back to something and explain it, that's probably not going to make it go away. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I'm curious in your kind of like clinical experience, like working with people, in those cases where you traced it back, did it somehow like become less enticing?
No, not
to
at all.
Those people? I think it's like at that point, it's like you've been fantasizing about this thing for so long. It's something that really turns you on. It's not going to go away. It's kind of like how we don't, when we get married, we're attracted to our partner. We don't wake up one day and we're like, oh my God, I've completely lost all attraction to them. I'm not physically attracted to them at all. Like that doesn't happen because, like you said, these neurons have been wired together and fired together for so long. Yeah.
There's been some really interesting research done by Justin Lehmiller. He has a great book called Tell Me What You Want about fantasies. So he did a ton of research on asking people about their fantasies, and he came up with the 7 most common fantasies. And I thought this list is very interesting. Number 1 is multi-partner sex, so threesome and above. Number 2 is power, control, and rough sex. 3, novelty, adventure, and variety. So what I thought was interesting,
I don't even know this sounds like a kink.
Yeah, what I think is interesting about that is like it's a very like large grouping of things. Like it's not a specific act. It's just this idea of people fantasize about doing new things, having adventure with their partner.
So it's kind of like like trying something new for the first time.
Yeah.
Like I think that there's something hot about that idea of like, oh, like this person is about to discover something.
Yeah. Number 4 is taboo and forbidden sex. So you specifically get turned on because you feel like you're not supposed to be turned on by something. Mm-hmm. 5 is passion, romance, and intimacy, which I thought was so sweet. Like I think sometimes most of the time we think of kink and fantasy as being these like really intense over the top things, but like a lot of people just straight up fantasize about being romantic with their partner, like making out. It's very cute. 6 was non-monogamy and partner sharing. And 7 is erotic flexibility and gender bending.
Uh-huh.
Then he also polled people about why they fantasize. And I thought this list was fascinating. There are 12 different reasons on this list, which is pretty interesting. Like, I think most people, if you'd ask, like, well, why do you think people fantasize? They'd be like, just to get turned on or get sexy. But listen to all these different reasons. To experience sexual arousal, yes, because you're curious about different sexual experiences and sensations, to meet unfulfilled sexual needs, to temporarily escape reality, to express or fulfill a societally taboo sexual desire, to plan out a future sexual encounter, to relax or reduce anxiety because you're bored and don't have anything else to do. That was literally 40% of people. To feel more sexually confident, to meet unfulfilled emotional needs. Mm-hmm. To block out distractions during sex, and to compensate for an unattractive or undesirable partner. That one's rough.
That was reported by 12% of people.
And then there were also questions about people asking, like, what's the difference between a fantasy and a kink? And when do you know if it's like something that you actually want to do in real life versus something that you just want to fantasize about? So we'll just run through this quickly. Like, there aren't hard and fast, like, scientific definitions here, but in general, we tend to use the word fantasy in the sex therapy world to mean anything that you imagine or picture that turns you on. And we use kink to express when something feels more central to your sexual experience. Like, it has to be a part of the experience for you to feel sexually fulfilled.
As more of a lay person, like, the way that I was almost thinking about this was like, okay, well, a fantasy is obviously it's something that's coming up over and over in your head, something that you're curious about, and then maybe even something that you try with a partner. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I've been fantasizing about having a threesome. Like, maybe let's fantasize about it together. And then, like, maybe you try it out once and you're like, okay, cool, that was fun. Like, I don't need to go do this every month to feel sexually fulfilled. Whereas it would cross into kink territory if it's like, oh, this is something, and honestly, I think this is something that's unlikely to develop like midway through your sex life, I would think. Like, I feel like, often a kink is something you've been thinking about over and over. Whereas often a fantasy is like, oh, like, I saw something in a movie that kind of piqued my curiosity. Mm-hmm. And now I'm thinking about it a bit. And I think often with that, it's like, okay, you try and it's like, okay, cool. That was fun. Maybe we will do this every now and then, but it doesn't feel like I need this in order to feel fulfilled. Mm-hmm. Whereas, a kink might be something that you're wanting to come back to over and over and over again. And it kind of feels like this is what sex needs to be for me. Yeah. Kind of like how we say, for most women, sex needs to incorporate touching the clitoris in order to, or stimulating the clitoris in order for it to be enjoyable. That's sort of like a physiological kink, so to speak, right? Like, it's just a physiological fact that this is what women need in order to feel pleasure during sex. And a kink is almost sort of like an emotional version of that, where it's like, I need to do it in a certain way in order to really, like, get the full satisfaction out of the experience.
Interesting. But yeah, again, it's not like a hard and fast thing. Like, it's, you might still be able to experience, enjoyment and pleasure without the kink, but that's just kind of like a rough way of expressing it. And then, yeah, between fantasy and an actual desire, like, I think of fantasy as something that we just like to play with in our heads that feels arousing and turned on. Whereas a desire is something that we actually want to do in real life. So it's very common to fantasize about things that you don't actually want to do in real life. Like, that's part of the fun of it, is that you're playing with it in your head. You would never do it. So, like, a super common one is the threesome. So many people fantasize about threesomes, but don't actually want to do them in their real lives because they're like, I don't know what that really would be like to watch my partner hook up with another person, what it would be like afterwards when we're all lying there, what it would feel like to watch my partner, So
yeah, I feel like that's like us. Like, yeah, the idea sounds super hot. It sounds super fun. Mm-hmm. But the actual, like, we've done an episode. We've even done an episode talking about threesomes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the amount of kind of legwork required to make this happen just like to find the right person, not to mention all the conversations, all the sort of like emotional labor that goes into making sure that you are both going to feel good about the situation. I'm like, that seems like a lot. Like it's hotter to me when it's just, in our head or something that we, talk dirty about occasionally.
Yeah. And if you are interested in spicing things up in the bedroom, exploring a little bit of kink for beginners, we do have an episode about that too. That's episode 53, going way back, 53. Did you know that 30% of Americans grind their teeth at night?
I'm one of them.
I am also one of them. Neither of us knew it until our dentist had to point out that for both of us, our enamel was chipping. Like we were literally destroying our teeth. And we've actually turned into teeth geeks. We've both been on some dental journeys to protect and strengthen and straighten our teeth. And I'm very proud now of my smile. And it's very important to keep it looking good. So that's why we're really excited to tell you about Remy and their custom fit night guards. Night guards are the best way to protect your teeth, and Remy is less than 80% the cost of the dentist and way easier. So here's how it works. They send you an impression kit straight to your door with step-by-step instructions for getting the perfect impression. You send it back to them and they ship you your custom fit night guard made in the US in Vegas. And then you get your night guard back and you can start protecting your teeth right away. Remy is so confident that you'll get a perfect fit that they offer a 45-night perfect fit guarantee or your money back. No waiting rooms, no overpriced bills, just a better way to protect your teeth while you sleep. Try Remy risk-free at shopremy.com/pillow and use code PILLOW to get up to 50% off your night guard at checkout. That's 50% off at shopremi.com/pillow with code PILLOW. Thank you, Remy, for sponsoring this episode. This episode is sponsored by Splash Blanket, the original luxury waterproof blanket, redefining what it means to get messy and stay cozy. Could there be any more perfect podcast sponsor for us than Splash Blanket?
No.
Right?
I love that we have bedding sponsors.
I think for so many of us, fears about getting the bed messy really get in the way of sex. Like you end up holding yourself back because you're worried about, nobody wants to sleep in the wet spot. We don't want to ruin the sheets. So Splash Blanket is the perfect solution. These blankets are made to handle over a liter of liquid. Nothing will get through this blanket. They're super absorbent, 100% waterproof, and they come in a variety of sizes and styles. So the whole point of the Splash Blanket is not just that you can waterproof your bed, but also that it's something that you can have on display. You don't have to hide it in the closet or worry about somebody coming over and seeing it. They make these beautiful blankets that you can have out and nobody will know what they actually are.
Yeah, this is not like a crinkly waterproof blanket. I think most people
this
have
is luxurious.
Yeah, most people are like, oh, waterproof sheets, you get on it and it's like no, this is a legit blanket that happens to be waterproof.
And they actually have a couple of different options too. They have smooth bamboo sheets, super plush snuggly fleece, super silky faux fur. So you can find something for everybody in a huge selection of colors. So go ahead, let it gush, pour the massage oil, turn up the heat. And Splash Blanket is offering an incredible deal for our listeners. Use code PILLOWTALK for 15% off at splashblanket.com. That's code PILLOWTALK for 15% off splashblanket.com, because there's nothing sexy about midnight laundry. Are we right? Okay, so next question. Now we're getting more into the questions about specific fantasies and scenarios that are coming up for people. By far and away, the most common question was about cuckolding.
Mm-hmm. Surprise, surprise.
What's the deal with cuckolding?
What the hell is cuckolding, Vanessa?
Okay. So cuckolding typically happens in male-female relationships where the woman has sex with another man and her partner watches the two of them have sex.
Now, how is, and I feel like because this is having a cultural moment, we have to differentiate. What's the difference between cuckolding and hot wifing?
Okay, typically the way that people use those phrases is that so it's the same scenario where you have a male-female couple and she's having sex with somebody outside of the relationship.
Another man.
In hot wifing, that tends to be more that like the male partner is enjoying watching it. He thinks
he's
it's just
giving
like,
his wife to another man. Look how I want you to see how great she is.
Yeah, I want you to get to enjoy her.
It's kind of like a super positive vibe cuckold.
And then cuckolding, people tend to use it in the way where there's a little added layer of humiliation around it. So it's
for the man who has to watch. Like you're stuck in the corner. This is the classic like chair in the corner of the room, the cuck chair. Yeah. Where it's like, bad boy, you sit in the corner and watch me get fucked by this other guy. Whereas hot wifing is like, hey, bro, like let my wife fuck you so you can see how great she is.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, oftentimes the humiliation can come around like penis size. Like the other guy who's having sex with the female partner is like, he's bigger. And maybe she's making fun of her partner of like, oh, he's so much bigger. Or like, he's fucking me so much better than you are. So there's like a little, element of humiliating the partner.
Yeah, I think there's probably a big element of humiliation in cuckolding.
Again, it's not a super like some people use the phrase cuckolding just to mean like you're watching your partner have sex with somebody else. Okay. Or your partner is just having sex with somebody else you're not necessarily watching. So people use these phrases in different ways, which can be a little bit confusing. But yeah, typically the way that it is used is that there's some amount of humiliation that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing about this is that if this is not a fantasy that you've ever considered, when you hear us describe this, you're probably thinking like, oh God, well, that sounds horrible for the guy who's like being humiliated sitting in the corner. But if you talk to someone who is into any kind of humiliation type of fantasy, like they will say like, yeah, no, like I get off on that humiliation. Like I enjoy it. I'm playing with different dynamic. Like, it's in my everyday life. Like I'm not like going around just getting humiliated all the time. It's like not something I'm down on myself about. It's like, it's like I'm playing with this opposite energy that feels exciting sexually to me. So if you talk to someone that is into this, they're not like, oh God, I have to go get cuckolded again tonight. They're like, fuck yeah, I can't wait to be in my cuck chair.
Yes.
My wife is cucking me tonight.
No, they're very excited about it. And oftentimes, you bring up a good point too, like oftentimes in the bedroom, people like to channel energy that is very different from how they are outside of the bedroom. So,
so
a lot
often
of people
it's like, he might be like a big boss.
Yeah, in a super powerful position. And then he enjoys like that play of being, more submissive in the bedroom. So that happens very, very often. We also sometimes get questions about like, a lot of times we hear about this from women saying, my husband wants me to do this and like, I'm so disgusted and why would he want to do that? And it feels insulting to the woman, but it's really not. Like, it's not him. How do I describe it? Like, it's not an insult to her. It's a really hot, sexy thing for him if he's into it. And if it's like he's wanting to share her with other men because she's so sexy, she's so hot. He wants to see other people getting to enjoy what it's like to be with her. So it's not it's not an insult.
Yeah, I mean, but ultimately, like, if you are the partner of someone that wants, like, if your partner wants you to go have sex with other people, like, only if that's something that you are into, like you're into that. Oh, okay. If I have permission to do that, I can see a way that this could be really fun and hot to get to experience something that I might not otherwise get to experience or something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you're like, oh God, no, I don't feel okay with that. It's not like Vanessa's not saying, oh yeah, no, it's super hot, go do it.
Yeah. No. I mean, everybody gets to have their own boundaries. Just because your partner's into something doesn't mean you have to do it at all. But yeah, it's not an insulting thing. I also want to bring up this term compersion. That's a word that we use to describe getting pleasure from seeing other people's pleasure. So for some people, like watching their partner with another person, it's not just that it's like, oh, it's so naughty and taboo and wrong, and that's what's getting me turned on. Like there's a genuine love that you feel, a genuine joy that you feel, like seeing your partner, seeing other people get to experience pleasure.
Yeah, that's a term that you very often will hear in the polyamorous community of like, you know, the compersion of seeing your partner get to experience feelings of love with somebody else. It's like you get to vicariously kind of like get something out of what they are getting from that. Whereas, you know, many people would be like, oh my God, I would be so jealous. I would feel, you know, disgusted or whatever. It's like, well, no, like if if it is possible to feel the compersion, like to actually get the same thing that your partner is getting out of it. Not that one of those is better than the other. It's just like, you know, all of our brains are wired in different ways.
Yeah. Okay. We also got a lot of questions about fantasizing during sex. A lot of people asking, like, is it okay to fantasize about other people when I'm having sex with my partner? We heard about this most often from women. And we actually heard from a fair number of women who said, like, I feel like I can't get off unless I'm actively fantasizing about somebody else. So let's hear, what is your take on this? Is it okay to fantasize about other people during sex with your partner?
This is so interesting because it was a couple of weeks ago that we recorded it, but the podcast that came out a couple of days ago from right now when we're recording was me talking about, you know, it was like Xander Speaks for All Men and like what do men think about whatever. And one of the things we were talking about was like there was a question of like, you know, when a man sees like a hot woman, is he thinking about having sex with her? Mm-hmm. And I was basically saying, like, no, like my mind isn't, like for the most part, my mind is not immediately going to like, oh, let me imagine having sex with this person right now. But like, yes, I think we all at times have those, you know, whether it's a split second thought or a more long and drawn out thought that we decide to entertain. Like I think any of us that are sexually active or not asexual have those thoughts every now and then. Right. And so it's like, how could you ever expect someone to be like, no, I have never once in my entire life ever when I've been having sex ever had a thought about anybody else? Like, I think everybody has at some point, and especially anybody that has had sex with more than one partner, that has had any, you know, more than one sexual experience. I can imagine how if you've only ever had sex with one person, it might be a little harder to think about sex with somebody else because you legit have not ever had that experience. Mm-hmm. But, you know, not only is it possible to fantasize, it's possible to just literally have memories. Mm-hmm. So I think that this is a really tough question because the reality is I think 100% of sexually active people will have this thought or maybe even this fantasy at some point in time. I think the question is what you do with it. What you do with it and how often it comes up. So like if you're finding, I am having this recurring fantasy every single time I have sex with my partner and I'm feeling like I'm not able to be present with my partner or I'm kind of phoning it in with my partner and really I'm like mostly checked out having this other fantasy or I feel like I can't really enjoy myself at all without having that fantasy. I don't know. It's like I don't want to say that's not okay, but I feel like it's like, in a way, I wonder if you're doing a bit of a disservice to your partner. Like you're not really there. You're not really there with them.
Okay, so I have a great litmus test for this one because I don't think that there's any black or white, right or wrong answer here. This really depends on the couple. Like there are some couples who would feel super uncomfortable with this, and there are some couples who would feel very turned on and excited by this. So the litmus test here is how would you feel about your partner doing exactly what you're doing? Mm-hmm. So if you think about your partner actively fantasizing about somebody else while they're having sex with you, if that makes your stomach turn and your heart flop down into your gut, then you probably shouldn't be doing it yourself.
Well, what if you're like, oh yeah, I'd be so turned on by that, so therefore it's fine for me to do it. It's more of like, what do you think your partner would feel? Rather than like...
Well, both of them could be a litmus test.
Yeah,
how would you feel if your partner was doing what you're doing? And how do you think your partner would feel if you told them what you were doing?
Yeah, I think if both of those, you can be like, check, check. And then I think even the third one would be like, okay, so then like I'd challenge you. If you're like, yeah, my partner would be super into it and I would be super into it, then it'd be like, okay, great. Well, then I think you shouldn't have any problem bringing this up with them tonight, right? And if you're like, yep, no problem, I'm going to do that, and it's all cool, then great. But if you're all of a sudden like, ooh, actually, I'm not sure how that conversation would go.
Yeah.
Then maybe that's a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you feel uncomfortable with it, if you feel like your partner would be uncomfortable with it, then yeah, I think that's probably something to stop doing, to take a look at.
All right, Vanessa, let's get down and dirty. What's a breeding kink?
Oh, okay. So breeding kink is when you get turned on about the idea of impregnating your partner. It's typically men that have it about impregnating women. I don't know if I've ever heard of a woman having a breeding kink about herself getting pregnant. Because women know.
I don't know. I'm sure.
I'm sure there's somebody out there. But it's much more common for men to have breeding kinks than for women. We'll say that.
So I feel like what this is really getting at is like you're getting off on your own virility.
Yeah,
so
it can
speak,
be
right?
For some. Yeah.
Like,
it can...
yeah, I'm so fertile. It spread my seed.
But again, like, because this is a fantasy, like some people genuinely like want to get their partner pregnant. Like we've heard people talk before about like, oh, it gets me like super excited, like knocking my wife up. But with other people, it's just the fantasy of it. You don't actually want to get your partner pregnant. You might even be taking active steps to make sure it doesn't happen, but it's just the idea of getting your partner pregnant that feels very exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a different thing if you're like, I really want to be a dad. Like, I'd really like to get you. I'd really like for us to get pregnant. That's not a breeding kink or a fantasy. It's more like, oh man, we got enough kids, but wouldn't it be hot to have more? Just kidding. JK.
I just imagine all these like wannabe dads out there being like, oh my God, I have a breeding
Oh my God,
kink.
I have a kink.
No. You can want to get your partner knocked up and it not be a kink.
That's like, yeah, we're kink shaming you we're kink shaming you into being child free.
No kink
That's
shaming
the
here.
secret Vanessa and Xander agenda.
Oh my God. Don't even joke about that because some people are going to think that you're being honest.
Oh God, yeah, someone's going to be like, they finally let it slip. They let it slip.
Thanks, babe. Okay, yeah. So that's all that breeding kink is. Yeah, it's the idea of being, procreating, of spreading your seed, of passing on your legacy. It's the turn on to some people. Okay, here's another question that we got. Why do I have the fantasy to go to a sex club and only have sex with my wife? I don't want to switch with other partners, and I don't want to be the main attraction. I just want to be intimate in a dimly lit room while others do the same.
Hey, this is a really interesting one because before you read the last sentence, I was going to say, oh, well, I mean, it sounds like you really want to be monogamous, but you get off on the idea that like people might see you guys having sex. But that actually doesn't seem to be the case.
You just want to be around. So what do you think? Why do they have the fantasy?
I think that I feel like this is sort of this feels like a really healthy fantasy in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like it's like maybe your brain trying to get over some crappy conditioning around like sex is bad or evil. It's like, I just want to like be around people that are like comfortable having sex. Like, it's like your subconscious being like, yeah, sex is a normal thing. Sex is a normal thing. We're all having sex. Let's do it in front of each other, but we're not looking.
I mean,
but maybe we are looking just a little bit.
I don't want to put the label like healthy or unhealthy on fantasies, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with
your
this.
brain. Maybe it's like a protective mechanism. Your brain is like, you know what? Maybe you had a little bit of, maybe you had some kind of puritanical trauma around sex, and I want to help you just feel really open and comfortable with your sexuality.
Yeah, this is totally normal. I mean, I think some people get turned on by sex clubs because they feel a little naughty, and it's like, ooh, people, we don't often have sex with other people around, so there's something that feels a little taboo or forbidden about that. And yeah, going to a sex club doesn't mean that you want to be like an exhibitionist or a voyeur. Exhibitionist is when you want people looking at you. Voyeur is when you get turned on looking at other people. But yeah, like you don't need to be the main attraction. You don't need to switch out with other partners. Like it's a common, totally okay fantasy. And if you want to do it, you totally could do it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it feels almost just like a little step up from like public sex, where it's like most people that are into public sex don't want to actually have like 100 people see them having sex. Like they're getting off on the idea that maybe, just maybe, somebody might see, or somebody might wonder, oh, are those people having sex? Mm-hmm. And I think that this might be the same, where it's like, yeah, you're saying I don't want to be the main attraction, but just because you're not the main attraction doesn't mean like somebody might see, or other people are having sex around you and know that you are also having sex. So I think it's just might be just a mild like, oh yeah, that would be kind of hot for like, a couple other people to like know, or maybe like glance see some shapes moving in a dimly lit room and be like, oh yeah, that person is having sex, whoever that person is, because I can't really tell who they are.
So one of my secret interests is skincare. I just absolutely love geeking out over new products, trying different things on my skin, which is why I was super excited when Go Pure came on as a podcast sponsor and shared their Tighten and Lift Neck Cream, which is perfect for your summer skincare routine. Powered by clinically proven active ingredients, this advanced formula is designed to visibly firm, smooth, and rejuvenate the delicate skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. Because here's something that most people don't realize. Most of us are straight up ignoring our necks. We're just focusing on our face. And the skin on your neck is actually thinner, more delicate, and less oily on the skin on your face. So it shows age faster, but it also needs targeted love and attention. So Go Pure's Firming Complex targets the unique concerns of the neck while nourishing and strengthening your skin for that more lifted, youthful look, so you can feel confident showing a little more skin this summer. With over 1 million jars sold, this beauty secret is no longer a secret. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off Go Pure with code PILLOW at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com, use code PILLOW, and you're all set. And after you do buy, do us a favor. When they ask where you heard about Go Pure, tell them that it was from Pillow Talks. Here at Pillow Talks, bedding is very important to us.
It is, for a whole variety of reasons.
For many reasons. We really want our bed to feel like a sanctuary, to feel like our safe place. It's just the ultimate in comfort, luxury. Like, who doesn't want to feel good in your bed? I think for so many of us, our bed is like our safe place, right? So that's why we absolutely love Cozy Earth and their bamboo sheets. These sheets are temperature regulating, guaranteed to give you a comfortable night's sleep. They're made from viscose from bamboo, so they naturally wick away heat and moisture from your body, helping you sleep several degrees cooler. And they are some of the softest sheets your body will ever touch. They're very soft initially, but wash them a few times and oh my God, it is next level softness.
Yeah, you will not want to get out of your bed for whatever reason. And that's great. I think the more time, as you know from listening to this podcast, the more time you spend in bed with your partner, the better your relationship will be.
They have an incredible 100-night sleep trial. So if you've been hearing us talk about Cozy Earth, because they've been a long time podcast sponsor, we really appreciate them. If you've been hearing us talk about them and wondering like, I don't know, should I give it a try? They have a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty.
So you absolutely should give it a try.
Head to CozyEarth.com and use our code PillowTalks for 40% off. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure to let them know that you heard about Cozy Earth from Pillow Talks. Because your bed should be more than a place to sleep, it should be your happy place. Cozy Earth makes that possible. Okay, let me get your take on this one. My husband and I were talking about our fantasies. I said a threesome would be fun, and he totally agreed. But then he shot down my desire for a male-male-female threesome. The only threesomes he would ever consider is 2 females and him. He was mad for a couple of days at the idea of me wanting another male in the bedroom. Is this fair?
No, it's not fair. Yes, I can understand why he felt that way. Because, I mean, it just gets back to like the social conditioning, like the way that I think that we have this kind of unfair and unhealthy social conditioning that like the only way for men to be straight is to only be into women. But like women are like, well, women are flexible. Like straight women like dick, but like they're also but like women also turn them on. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so it's like, that's okay. It's also like very much okay for men to be like, be into like lesbian porn and stuff like that. And then on top of that, like all the threesome scenes that we see on TV and in the movies and we read about in books, it's always MFF, like male, female, female, uh-huh. Right? And so I think that this so often happens where it's like, yeah, when that gets suggested to a woman, they're like, oh yeah, that would be hot. Like it would be super hot to like do a threesome, like me and 2 men. It would be hot to do a threesome with, you and another woman. And the guy's like, what the hell? Like, why? Like, what, you want me to like be with another dick? But I think the reality is that most men have just never considered that because it's not really socially acceptable. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of ironic because I think that there's like a lot of like porn where that happens, but it's like the guys are never like doing anything together. So I don't know, man, but it's just like the way that we are kind of conditioned with this is kind of restrictive for guys. So I think that, yeah, it's like if you're a guy and you're like, and you really want to have a threesome, I think that you should be open to the idea that like, hey, there are other ways to do a threesome than just you and, and 2 other women.
Okay, so I do think that this situation is very hypocritical. I'm going to assume here that these 2 are both straight. So I can understand the husband's perspective that bringing in another woman feels less threatening to him because it's like, yeah, this is just going to be one night of fun, but my wife isn't attracted to women, so it's like whatever. Versus a man can feel a little scarier of like, maybe she's going to be attracted to him. Maybe she's going to enjoy sex with him better. Maybe he's going to have a bigger dick than I do, or he fucks her better. Like a lot of stuff can come up. So I could understand feeling safer having a woman in there. But at the same time, he has to recognize that that makes for a different scenario for him. Like, so then he's having sex with another woman and he's putting his wife in the exact same scenario that he doesn't want to be put in.
Yep.
So it's hypocritical from that sense. And this is one of the things that like makes threesomes very difficult in reality, where you're like, it's so hard to imagine this other person, but then you get down to the nitty gritty of like, okay, but who's the one that's going to feel more vulnerable? So the fact that he got mad about it for like a couple of days, it's like, oh my God, bro, get over it. But again, I do understand the desire for it to be female, female, male.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really not fair is that like he's upset probably because he's like, oh, well, like what? Like, what do you think, I'm gay or something? And it's like, well,
no, I don't know if it necessarily was that. She didn't say anything about that. She just said he was mad at the idea of me wanting another man in the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
But like, why can't she say it like, you want another woman in the bedroom? Why can't I be mad at you about that? Like, you guys should not have a threesome.
Yeah,
if it's not abundantly
shouldn't.
clear by now, you should not have a threesome.
Okay, what about this one? My boyfriend, 26, has enjoyed receiving anal play for quite some time. However, in the last several months, this has started to constantly pop up during sex, no matter what type of mood we're in going into it. When we do butt play, he likes to call me mistress and wants to serve me. He wants to wear my panties and be my dirty sissy slut. I want to make him feel good, and I've never had an issue with the butt play. I've tried to step into the femdom role and accept and play with these things, but it makes me feel rather uncomfortable. I don't like to call him a slut because he's not one. I know it's just play, but still. It makes me uncomfortable that he wants to wear my panties. I know there's nothing wrong with this. That he wants to wear my chonies.
I hate the word panties.
Is that better, babe? I know there's nothing
Underwear.
wrong with this, but I still can't fight the feeling. Our sex life is great, and he treats me like a princess and would do anything to please me, and I just want to be able to fulfill this fantasy for him. Would love any advice or tips.
Okay, there's a lot going on here. So it sounds like the first issue that she's bringing up is that he's wanting to do anal play every single time. And maybe she's more of a I'm down for it, but maybe not every single time. So that would be probably the first place that I would start. I mean, first, actually, I want to say you sound like a great partner. Like you really want to, you're going for it. You really want him to be pleased. You're not shaming him, but you're just trying to navigate your own boundaries and comfort levels around this. And that is a very common thing that comes up. And I think that you're doing this beautifully. You're not saying like, it's so gross that he wants it. What's wrong with him that he wants this every time? You're just acknowledging like, hey, I want to bring him pleasure. I want him to feel fulfilled. And I'm trying to figure out what my own boundaries are around this here. And you get to have your boundaries. That doesn't make you like kink shaming. That doesn't make you a bad partner. Like you're just your own person with your own interests and comfort. It like goes back to the food thing. You know, you're like, let's say the two of you are deciding what to have for dinner. It's like right now it sounds like he's deciding what you're having for dinner every night. And you are in this place of like, well, but maybe I want pasta tonight, or like we haven't had pizza in a long time. So like it's okay for you to be involved in these decisions too. Okay, so first one is anal play every single time. Maybe I would say something to him like, hey, I love like giving you anal play. I think it's really fun. I would also love for us to have like some nights where we don't do that. So, you know, maybe we can talk about like when I'm open to it and when I'm not open to it.
Yeah, we're actually... we have a question where we'll talk about sort of like, you know, should you schedule kinks? So this to me feels like, yeah, definitely a situation where some talk in advance or even like pre-scheduling, like, because this honestly, it sounds a bit more like a scene. He's wanting you to play out a sort of specific scene where you call him certain names, he does certain things. And I think that it would be very fair of you to describe, hey, I feel challenged to like make this switch in the moment and I'm not prepared for it. This feels like, you know, you want me to be a femdom. Like I need to be prepared for that. I need to be prepared energetically for that. I need to know that it's coming. I need to get myself into that energy. Because I think that what you are really struggling with is like in the moment, you're getting put on the spot. Yeah. And that doesn't feel good for you. And that is totally fair. That is totally fair.
Okay, then you're also calling out, like, there's a couple things. Like, he likes to call you mistress, he wants to wear your panties, and he wants to be your dirty little sissy slut. And it sounds like you don't like those three specific things.
Especially the word slut.
Yeah. So, again, this is an issue of you being able to, like, navigate your own boundaries. There are tons of ways to play or, you know, to do anal play that don't need to involve those three things. So... to me, it sounds like you have explored this a lot. You've given it a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances. We usually encourage people to like try things a few times because you can't really know for a lot of stuff. You know, you might not necessarily know right away whether you like it or not. And especially if it's something that's like a little out of your wheelhouse. But it sounds to me like you've done plenty of exploring. And if you're saying like, I don't want to be called mistress, I don't want him to wear my panties, and I don't want to call him a slut, like, I think those are very reasonable boundaries to set with him.
I'm not
also,
really...
I don't want anyone wearing my panties, so I get it. I don't have panties though.
I know I might
underwear.
I might rip them. But no, I mean I definitely stretch them out. They wouldn't be super wearable afterwards.
I don't know. I have a much bigger butt than you do.
That's true, but I have a bigger waist. Well, but look, I don't really see her saying that she's not into the mistress thing or the sissy part.
I'm trying to step into the femdom role, but it makes me rather uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I think that's more of like that. That's like sort of the energetic thing is like, I'm curious if you had, hey, I know on Friday we're doing femdom thing and I'm, let me kind of get in that mode. I wonder if that might help you. And I'm not going to be surprised in the moment. Hey, we're having Tuesday night sex. I know that I'm like the script isn't going to get flipped on me in the middle of things. Like I think we're doing it a certain way and all of a sudden he's asking for something else. But the question that came up for me that I thought was interesting here is the I don't want to call him a slut because he isn't one. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's something behind that, something for you to come to terms with. Because I wonder if you are looking at this like that word feels really negatively charged to me as a woman. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to be called a slut because I'm not one.
Yeah.
Therefore, I don't want to call him. He's literally saying this would turn me the fuck on if you call me this thing that I know that I am not, mm-hmm. that I'm not like going to feel bad about it's like it's going to make him feel the opposite of bad about himself. It's going to make him feel really like hot and desired and dirty in a hot, sexy way. Mm-hmm. For him. So I wonder if there's anything for you to come to terms with there. I'm not telling you need to call him a slut, but it's interesting that the way that you're saying is I don't want to call him that because he's not one. I think he knows that.
Yeah.
And if you talk to him about that, he'd be like, I'm not a slut. Like, it's just you and me here. It's just, this is something that would really turn me on.
Yeah, I think that would be a good conversation to have outside of the bedroom, is just talk about that specific word. Tell him whatever, history you have around that word, whatever feels, challenging for you around it, and hear what he says about it, why he likes it, why it doesn't feel like an insult for him. So maybe if you have that conversation outside of the bedroom, that might change things. But again, ultimately, if you're still landing on like, I just don't feel comfortable using that word, that's a very valid boundary that you get to draw. So could the two of you get creative and think of something else? Like, is there a different salute? Dirty boy, playboy, I don't know.
Promiscuous man.
You promiscuous man.
You promiscuous
And same with mistress. Like, is there a different word that conveys some of that same energy that you would feel more comfortable with?
Great suggestion.
And maybe buy him some of his own panties to wear.
That maybe you could like wear them every now and then so that they, I think, so that, he can kind of live out the actual fantasy of it. You could, if you want to. You could buy some larger ones that might fit him better. Just like sleep in them one night. She's like
walking around wearing big old droopy panties that are falling down. If you're loving the podcast and wondering, okay, but how do I actually put this into practice in my relationship?
Well, then you're definitely going to want to check out our membership, Deeper. It is hands down the best and the most affordable way to take your relationship from good to great.
Inside, we guide you through our 5 keys to everyday intimacy: communication, connection, desire, pleasure, and exploration.
And we give you the expert tools you need to strengthen each one. And on top of that, you'll also get access to our core library of courses and guides like the Ultimate Foreplay Guides, the Ultimate Sex Guide, Art of Initiation, and so much more.
Plus, we drop 2 brand new date ideas every month. You get daily Would You Rather prompts, monthly live calls with us, and fun intimacy challenges to keep your momentum going.
And oh yeah, Vanessa AI is there too. Your personal on-demand sex and relationship coach that is trained on everything, literally everything that we've ever created. So ask her anything and get instant expert-backed answers.
So if you're ready to communicate better, feel more connected, and turn up the heat on your sex life,
head on over to vmtherapy.com/deeper and use code PILLOW for 25% off your first month, just for Pillow Talks listeners.
Here's our next question. Discussing role reversal, pegging, and butt stuff for me, straight male, with wife who isn't on board. How do we have the conversation in a non-judgmental way, thinking I'm gay or bi when I know I'm not that there's anything wrong with that, and ways to explore solo while still being monogamous and not hiding it if it's still a no from her. Subject has been mentioned, but didn't go well. The way that people write their questions sometimes cracks me up so much.
Yeah.
Subject has been mentioned. Okay, so they've talked about it. It didn't go well.
I feel sorry for this guy. That's
Yeah.
that's a sad conversation to have.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like a very like polarizing situation to be in when it's like your partner is trying to tell you something about who you are and you know that to not be true, like a very fundamental part of you, and to not be seen in that is messed up.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yep. Yeah, so let's start there. There is still this dumb, old, outdated belief that men enjoying receiving any sort of butt play means that they're secretly gay or bi.
Because people that are gay like having their butt touched.
It's just so dumb. So yeah, okay, if we say, well, gay people play with butts, so therefore if you're playing with butts, that means you're gay. You know what else gay people play with?
Probably
Penises.
even more than butts. I guarantee you that gay people play with penises. They touch them. They put their mouth on them. A hell of a lot more than butts.
But is anybody saying, oh, you like a blowjob? You're gay. Like, that's so gay.
Yo, she jacked you off? That sounds like
So
it
gay.
basically could have been a guy doing it.
Are you sure it wasn't?
Bro, you let her touch your dick? That could have been me.
Like, it literally makes no sense.
If your eyes were closed, it would be the same as me doing it. I mean, that's a fantasy right there. Now that could be a kink. Who's touching your dick? I don't know. Whose mouth is it? Better not open your eyes. Oh, man.
So there's that aspect of it. There's also, like, your orientation is, first of all, you and only you get to define your orientation. And your orientation is defined by the people that you want to have sex with, not by the body parts that you enjoy being stimulated. The reality is that the anus has a ton of nerve endings. It is very sensitive. And people of all genders, of all orientations, all likes and dislikes, like, people enjoy feeling the sensation there. And just feeling sensation in a part of your body doesn't make you secretly bi or secretly gay. It just means you have a functioning brain that registers that you have nerve endings in a part of your body. Okay, so yes, we are doing men a disservice by, like, having so much taboo around this. Like, there's really nothing about enjoying butt stuff that says anything about your sexuality. So let's go back to this guy, though. He's brought it up. It didn't go well. We don't know exactly how or why. But I would bring it up again, maybe ask to listen to this episode together, or talk about, like, kind of approach her and say, like, hey, I want us to be able to talk about our sex life. I want us to be able to make space for each other's interests and desires. And regardless of whether or not we want to do certain things, I want us both to feel like we respect and acknowledge and validate each other's desires. So she gets to have her own boundaries. If she's like, I don't want to peg you, she doesn't have to. But she does need to show him, like, kindness and respect about it.
I think it's also very, very fair for you to set a really clear boundary, too, that I am not open to you telling me what my sexuality, inferring anything about my sexuality based on my interests. My sexuality is mine, is for me to disclose and identify. And I'm telling, like, I've told you I'm straight. I am straight. I am not open to you passing any judgment on my sexuality.
Yeah.
If that's something that you are not able to do, then this, like, we may not be able to be in a relationship together. We need to get into therapy to talk about this, because this is like a really fundamental misalignment that won't go away. It will only get worse in your relationship. And yeah, I hate to say this, but it's like, if you do have a partner that is really set in her ways in terms of that's the way that she is going to think about this, then I don't think there really is a way forward with that person.
Oof. I mean,
but
that's
I think
tough.
a lot of people can change this mindset
Yeah.
once they better understand. And I think that it's really important for them to hear you set a really clear boundary. I am not like this. I am not open to this being up for discussion.
Mm-hmm.
If this topic, if you do bring this up for discussion, I'm removing myself from the conversation. I'm not willing to have it with you.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I would initiate the conversation in that way. I would, since it hasn't gone well before, I wouldn't even bring up the idea of trying these things in this first conversation. I would just bring up the idea of like, I want us to be able to respect each other's desires and interests. So just try to start on that level. If that conversation goes well, then have a separate conversation about, okay, here are my desires and curiosities and interests. I respect your right to have your own boundaries, and I would just love us to have a conversation about what feels okay for you. So it doesn't need to be that she's super turned on by it or it's totally her thing, but like the vibe of that question earlier with the sissy slut, you know, where like she was very clearly like, this isn't my thing, but like I want you to feel good and fulfilled. Like I think that's how we should all be with our partners. Like have this level of generosity and openness. Again, we get to have our own boundaries, but where we're coming from this place of like I respect your desires. I want to be a good partner to you. I want to do what I can within the realms of my own comfort levels. So sometimes I think people feel hesitant to explore with their partners because they're like, well, I'm not into that. That's not my thing. You know, and it's like, you don't have to be turned on by it.
It's my thing. It's not your thing.
Yeah. It's okay for it to be like, I am giving this to you. Tonight is a little bit more about your desires. And then tomorrow night's going to be a little bit more about my desires. There can be this give and take within our comfort levels. So then let's say like, if she's just not open to doing any of it, which is totally her right, that's okay if she doesn't want to, I would give this guy the advice to explore with toys. There are plenty of great toys that you can play with, like different vibrators, different butt plugs, that you can do completely on your own and get to have that sensation.
But I do think that it would probably be a good idea for you to have the conversation with your partner and say, hey, this is something that I want to explore on my own because you're asking, like, is it okay to explore solo? And I think you're saying, like, you don't want to be hiding it from her if it's a no from her because, yeah, it's like if you are getting to the point where she's like, yeah, I just like don't think that you're really straight if you're into this. And then you're like, okay, cool. Well, then we won't do that. But I'm secretly going to go do it on my own. Like, like if she finds the toys or she catches you, that ratchets the situation up a whole, in a whole other way. It's like, I think you got to rip the Band-Aid off. And, even if she's like, no, I'm totally not open to this, then it's like, because I think what you're saying behind the scenes here is this feels like a really central part of my sexuality and I need to explore it.
Yeah.
I am open to exploring this I want to explore this with or without you. I don't hear you saying, yeah, I would really like to be able to explore this, but if we can't, then I can live with it. You did not say that in the question.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is I will need to explore this with or without my wife. And so I do think that you need to have that conversation where you're basically saying, okay, cool, I totally respect that you're a no here. This feels like something that's really central to me. How would you, I want to know how you would feel in advance about me exploring this because that's something that I feel like I really need to do. And I wouldn't present it to her as like, you get to tell me yes or no. Like, I think you kind of got to tell her, this is something that I really feel, called to explore. It feels central to who I am. And I want to know how you would feel about that, because if you don't feel good about that, then we need to have some broader discussions about what that means for our relationship. Like, please don't punt this like so many people end up doing, where it's like, okay, well, they said no, but they didn't say I couldn't do it on my own, because it's just going to get worse when inevitably somebody says something or finds something or whatever.
Okay, and let's close this out. I just want to read this quick one. I'd like to experiment with wearing some traditionally female lingerie and makeup, like fishnets and mascara.
Ooh.
I've done this solo, and it's really fun for me. I don't feel broken. I'm very confident in who I am. I just don't want to be the partner that asks something ridiculous. So I just want to say to this person, go you. I love that you know that you're not broken. You're confident in who you are and what you like. It is totally cool.
Yeah,
and
you're probably super hot in fishnets and mascara.
It's actually shockingly common how much men enjoy playing around with some of these, traditionally female things.
Yeah, gender bending was one of the most common things on the list.
Very, very common. So it was interesting that he ends the sentence with, like, I just don't want to be the partner that asks something ridiculous. Like, you already know. You're confident. You're not broken. Like, it's okay.
You could even play with that language. You could be like, hey, you know what? I'm a little worried that this might sound ridiculous to you. To me, I fucking love this, and so I just want to shoot my shot.
Yeah.
I feel great. I feel great about this. I love it. I've done this on my own. And how do you feel about this?
Yeah.
I think you lead with the confidence and your own confidence that you already have in it. That will be visible to your partner. But if you go into it, oh God, I'm really nervous to talk to you about this thing. I have this really ridiculous fantasy.
Yeah,
you're
you're
already like lowering the bar for them or raising the bar. Oh God, you're already making it easier for them to be like, oh, well, they're saying, like, they're already giving me an out. Oh yeah, that is ridiculous. Or like, oh, well, it seems like you're not really sure about this, so I'm not really sure either. Like you're giving them out after out after out. But if you go into it and it's like, yeah, this is fucking hot, I'm into it, like, let's fucking go. I think it'll go over better.
All right. Well, that is all for today's episode of Pillow Talks. Thank you so much for listening, and join us again next week. We have a topic that I am so excited about. I actually thought that was what we were recording today, and then I was like, no, it's going to be a fun one.
This was a good one too, though.
Yeah, it was. All right, we release new episodes every Thursday, so we'll see you back here next Thursday.